Speaking of the email and the Little Red transfer team, this is an element of the Little Red series that I've not really discussed much of so far. I did talk a little about Carno Avo, the YouTube account that uploaded a few of the videos that were extra to Vessel of Notion. The same name also appeared on an email that gave access to the Hayden document, and this is the same email we see at the end of this video. To put it simply, the Little Red transfer team is a group of people who are in the present day seeking Illusion Plus media and merchandise, and Oscar Taylor is a member of this group, as is Arthur, someone who we've seen mentioned before and seems to be on the end of the phone call we hear as part of this video too. Contacting the email will also get you responses, which are mainly a group of videos that seem to function as an automated response, similar to a menu you might access by calling a phone number. Through this, a few of us who are part of the Little Red Transfer Discord have managed to get hold of not only these videos, but a few images as well that give us a little more information. This means that the transfer team and Carno Avo are part of an ARG element that's been built into this series. Thanks to the members of the Discord who got hold of some of this and shared it with us. The team has also set up a Wix site blog to share information with us, most of which can only be seen there. Starting with the things we've managed to receive from the email, which is apparently manned by a person called Trey, it mostly consists of the aforementioned automatic response videos. If you want to receive these videos for yourself, I suggest that you contact the email for them. I don't really want to ruin the surprise, so if you'd rather not see them, then skip to this time in the video to see the things we've received that weren't just the auto response videos. Okay, so if you're ready, here are the videos in order. A sort of order anyway.
Hello, we're glad you decided to reach out to the Little Reds transfer team. If you made a discovery involving the Little Reds brand, feel free to respond with 1. If you'd like a detailed explanation of our project, respond with 9. If you'd like to know some brief history of the Little Reds transfer team, feel free to respond with 5. And finally, if you'd like to see a special image, respond with, I've got Scout. The Little Reds transfer project was started December 5th, 2019 when Arthur found an out-of-place computer disk at the back of his father's desk. This disk held an old 1988 Little Reds Mega Mall training tape, and with it came a narrative involving a missing employee and the story about a horrific party. After running into numerous dead ends, Arthur decided that he'd taken this forgotten story public. After many unsuccessful attempts at reaching out to bigger story-covering YouTubers, he came across the AquantaFilms channel, a humble channel known for its lost media discovery. On November 14th, 2020, the Little Reds training tape was posted for all to see.
You'll notice that one of those videos is silent, and according to the information we've gotten in the course of the ARG, that shouldn't be happening. As far as I'm aware, the team is trying to fix that issue, but haven't succeeded yet. We've also managed to get access to a few images, which we'll discuss now. Each of these images shows a handwritten note on top of a photo of something. The first one was originally gotten hold of by Hawk on the Discord, and shows what is clearly the inside of a car, with what I originally thought might be massive cracking across the windshield, but brightening up shows that it extends far beyond the window, so it might be cobwebs, which suggests that this vehicle has laid abandoned for a while. The note overlaid on top of it is written on paper that appears to have the Illusion Plus Preservative Project logo on the bottom right corner, but it is faded, which suggests that it too is old. It reads, "Writing this on my way to Nashville. Of course she gets to call the shots. I'm never good enough for him these days. Used me as an ashtray, and now I'm just his fucking associate. That man ain't no good. Ain't worth a damn to nobody." This note mentions that the writer was on their way to Nashville at the time, and Nashville was mentioned in the main video as being where the person on the other side of the phone call, Arthur, was at the time. As an interesting note, in reality, on the date of the tapes we see in Énouement, Nashville was currently suffering an event which became known as the Super Tuesday tornado outbreak, which saw 87 tornadoes hit the southern United States, and the Lower Ohio Valley on the 5th and 6th of February 2008. This matches up with the worsening weather we see, especially in the footage of the car dashcam, which means the car in the photo could very well be the same car we see. This could mean that the note was written by one of the people who were in the car at the time, if this note being atop the photo of the car means that it was found in the vehicle. It also mentions a she who gets to call all the shots, which could be referring to Alex, who we know from other footage was currently job babysitting for her father at the time, and we do indeed hear her giving orders in one of the segments of the footage from the Helix warehouse. This could mean that Cooper Leslie, Alan Koskin or Alice Hazel had something against Alex Burrow or her father Mr. Burrows, who may or may not be Hayden Burrows, who could be in his 70s, 80s or maybe even 90s in 2008, depending on how old he was when he first made Little Red. However, a car can fit more than 3 people, and at no point does Oscar tell us that there were only 3 people in that car. There could just as easily be another 4th person inside the car who just wasn't recorded as talking, who was the source of the note if indeed it did come from the car. The second image seems to be showing someone moving heavy objects around or else doing some work to them, with other people around them also seemingly at work. The note over this one is a bit harder to read, but says, "The fact of the matter is I don't even think she's working much over there / here. Especially not when Tony's around. I see the way she looks at him, he's a walking talking distraction." This note is talking about a woman who is seemingly in the same work group as the people in the picture, who isn't working much, especially when Tony is around. This note seems to be talking about Alex Burrow and Tony Freeman, and if so was written by another one of the people who's with them at the location. Possibly the person who the two of them were seen complaining about at one point, the person Tony referred to as a stalker. It also seems to suggest that the others in the Preservative Project saw something going on between Alex and Tony, seeing them as being more than just friends, or at least having the potential to be. The third image shows what appears to be a giant billboard or sign with the Illusion Plus logo upon it, notably lacking the 3 bars that usually appear for them, but still having a tri-coloured logo. The note upon this one is possibly the hardest to read, but with some help from Shivani in the Discord we were able to make it out. It's pretty gloomy here and I don't want to worry Luke, but I have till then before they get shipped to whatever location to get transferred, or even worse, to rot in storage in some trashy ass warehouse up north. Now, this one is the most confusing. It doesn't seem to relate at all to the previous 2, but the name Luke helps me to determine who this note is probably from. A little series update video was posted to Aquanta's channel in August, listing a bunch of names at the end as special thanks, 2 of which we already know are names of people involved in the Little Red transfer team, Oscar Taylor and Arthur Mildrow. Listed among the other names is a Luke Lowe. This makes me think that this note might have been written by Arthur, who we know was in Nashville on or around the day of the rest of the footage, given that there is also talk about the storms during the phone conversation. This also makes me think that maybe the voice we hear in the phone dog talking to Arthur could be that of Luke Lowe. However, we're still not done talking about the Little Red transfer team and the information they've been sending out. At the end of July, the Carno Avo email sent both myself and Wowman a couple of extra secret videos. I actually received and watched the video on a live stream, but unfortunately I didn't archive the stream. I do still have the video though, and it seems to be a homemade slideshow-esque video for Ivan Carpenter's funeral. The video, in his memory, includes images of a man we can assume to be Ivan in certain situations with friends and family, and includes some on-screen tributes from people who knew him. Because it's currently not uploaded anywhere else, and with permission, I now include the entire thing for you to view. video we learn that Ivan had a middle name that began with J, that he was born on December 3rd, 1991, and is presumed to have died on New Year's Day of 2011, which means he would have just turned 19 years old when he passed. The service is being held in a church in Lincoln County, Tennessee, so we can assume either he or his immediate family lived in that area. The first couple of messages we see are standard funeral tribute fare, mourning the loss of Ivan and regretting not being there for him. The third message, though, has been sent by someone who hasn't been able to make the funeral, noting that they are not wanted there by the family and understanding why. They also mention Mrs. Carpenter and how they hate seeing her like this, assumedly meaning in mourning for the loss of Ivan. The final message is again standard tribute fare, but this person thanks Ivan for loving him before it cuts off abruptly. However, if we move across to the Wix site for the first time, we can find this entry here and find out that the abrupt ending to the video was simply because there was a little bit more to the video that wasn't included in the copy I was sent. The final section has a message that simply reads, "In your memory, Eric," before the video goes blue, signalling the proper end to the clip. The blog post for this extra snippet video notes it was found in the same shoebox as another video, What Went Wrong, which I'll cover next. It notes that the video was split into separate parts, and the writer says that their father is the one who held on to all the things from Illusion Plus and Little Reds that we're currently seeing, for unknown reasons. Moving on to the What Went Wrong video, this is the one that Wowman was sent, and if you want to see more of it, I suggest going over to his video, which I've linked in the description. After all, he was the one who received this video. Anyway, the video starts off with a blue screen with the title, What Went Wrong, 2011 New Year's Party, Cheers! We're then shown a selection of handheld camera shots taken during a party, assumedly the mentioned New Year's party. This party we've actually known about since the very first Little Reds transfer video, when it was mentioned by Ivan in his first and last backhaul cars in the video, the same party he decided to miss when he began to feel on edge about things that were happening in his department. The video is shaky and unclear, the sound very hard to make out in the general hubbub of the crowd, but on screen we can see the time code for each clip, but strangely the dateline is blurred out. At times it seems like parts of the footage have instead been replaced by someone else filming the original footage on a screen. The footage is always very brief, skipping forward chunks of time, and also tends to distort and slow in places. This continues until we get to the 11:59 PM part of the video as the partygoers count down to the new year, and as they call Happy New Year, with the time code 23 seconds off being true midnight, the video glitches and shows off a couple of extra images. The first appears to be the title screen of the 1988 tape from the first video. The second looks like a news program screen that shows an image of a man over a neon sign with the words, News Today, Illusion Plus employee missing, while video underneath shows what might be an animatronic moving under it, creating a pixelated distortion of the images. When the images disappear, the moving video underneath is overlit, but we can make a guess that it is footage of a possible Little Red robot based on the colours and shape. Things then garble again, and we see what might be a dark room with some lit screens, then an image of a face focused on the lower part, prominently the mouth, which seems to be expressing some dismay or upset. We then see the news screen again without the man overlaid over the neon sign, which we can now see is probably that of the Scout Star Mega Mall, another various garbled section of tape which are difficult to make out anything of substance. We are then returned to the New Year's party tape as people celebrate the new year coming. There's a slowed down section of audio before we rejoin them, but it appears to be the same bit of dialogue we then see in the video rather than anything else. The video ends with the words, Happy New Year, cheers, superimposed over the video, and the camera is lowered and we see a hand reaching for the lens before it is turned off. Then we get a few more flickers of footage with another image overlaid over the last second of the New Year's video, something that looks like yet another sighting of the 1988 title screen, but from a different angle. The video then ends on a blue screen with a white box and some words in white, What Went Wrong? The Wix site for this video notes that the video is from a party held December 31st, January 1st on the night of Ivan's disappearance, and notes that the party was hosted by Illusion Plus employees. It also makes note of 3 faces on the video with names, saying that all employees not involved in the Little Reds transfer project but may have crossed paths with Ivan throughout workdays. The images show in order Marcus Scone, Luke Mardrow, and Nicole Vick. This is interesting because not only do we now have another Luke, but one that shares Arthur Mardrow's last name, which could indicate a relationship and could mean that the Luke mentioned in the note of the third image we got from the email could be Luke Mardrow and not Luke Lowe. Or possibly, given that we see a Carly Lowe in the same credits as Luke Lowe, Maybe they're the same person, but Luke married Carly and chose to take her last name in the year since the 2011 New Year's party. Finally, we'll cover the other posts on the Wix site, of which there's a few, mostly images that were also in the same shoebox as In His Memory and What Went Wrong. There's 8 other posts beyond the ones I've already spoken about, but mainly I'm interested in 5 of them. All show images from Illusion Plus's past and contain information that helps to put context to things. The first post, New Find, Image Gallery, has 2 images, one of a man in a white t-shirt with a Little Red's logo on it, and the other is part of a text conversation between 2 people. The man in the photo looks similar to the man seen in this image here in His Memory, and indeed makes an appearance in quite a few of the photos on the Wix site. The text conversation is between 2 people, discussing the New Year's party video. The messenger in green is asking if the other person got it, and then says that they were pretty sure that Vic was eyeing them up last night, which they seemed to be pleased with. The other person notes that the date on the footage was wrong, and the reply is that Ivan gave them the camera. They call it probably a hand-me-down and refer to Ivan as a scammer. They then ask the other person how the announcement went and ask if there was anything interesting. However, there isn't a reply to this, and the next message comes through at 9:13 in the morning. We don't know what date this reply came through, as only the year is visible. The person says that they wish the other person was there, but the rest of the message is off-screen and hidden as a result. Based on the positioning of the text bubbles, we could tell that this came from the phone of the person with green bubbles, who is also supposedly the person who shot the New Year's video we see parts of in What Went Wrong. This person knew Ivan and also apparently had a thing for Vic, possibly Nicole Vic as identified in one of the previous blog posts. The person on the other end of the conversation, meanwhile, didn't attend the party because something came up, but they were also witness to an announcement about something that interested the person from whose phone this came. The next post, New Find N64 Update, also has 2 images, but these are focused around one particular topic. The 3D model of Little Red we've been seeing teased in past extra content such as the password video. It seems someone named Tyler discovered a promotional post advertising the game from which it came, an N64 Little Red's game. The poster itself shows the 3D Little Red on a black background surrounded by television screens with other N64 games upon them, and the second image is apparently of the front of a Nintendo magazine with the character front and centre. Judging by the background behind him, it's likely that the image used on this cover is a similar promotional image to that of the first image in this blog post. Other than this, all this post says is that the team is looking forward to sharing more about this game with us, which is a hint towards some of the content we'll be seeing in the next big video update, i.e. maybe Little Red's Transfer 3. The third post, Company Branding, New Find, contains some images of photos taken of a screen with what the post describes as an old Illusion Plus video presentation. The photos show 3 images stacked atop each other, as well as a separate part for each image. 2 of these seem to be Illusion Plus branding, but the third seems to be at least in part showing a cartoon with an arm sticking out into the frame. Whose arm it is though, I'm not sure. The closest match I can see is that of Hopper, with the fur colour and the clothing colour matching pretty well, even if so far I don't think we've seen a depiction of the hair with sleeves. Although Little Red, Lox and Gally have certainly gone through changes through the years, so it's possible that this could be a different design of Hopper. To the side of this is another screen which is blurry, but the colours and shape of it make me think of Little Red again. All the blog post says about this is that they don't know what the presentation was for, but they have some guesses and are trying to uncover the segments that are missing of it. The fourth post, Employee Photos New Find, has only 1 image which the team thanks Aquanta for editing for them. There seem to be 2 pictures overlaid, but the main one is of the same man who keeps popping up in the images here. The blog text notes that the shoebox is once again the source, and this time they found employee photos. They also say, Eric again making an appearance is definitely notable. This makes me believe that maybe the man we keep seeing here could be Eric. The fifth post, Employee Photos New Find, again, contains an image of what looks to be a promotional advert for Little Red's frozen custard, but it is the text with the blog post that is the most revealing to me. It once again mentions the shoebox source, saying that it has yielded all kinds of new media they hadn't had before. Inspecting the discs, though, has revealed some discarded YouTube videos, allegedly from an Illusion Plus Entertainment employee. While they don't know who the employee was, they've taken a fair bet on it being Eric, who apparently vlogged a lot of his experiences with the New Year's party being mentioned. This reveals to us that the person who shot the footage we see in What Went Wrong was Eric, and that also means that Eric is the source of the green text messages we also saw earlier.